Hey guys, I'm Bill here. Hope everyone is doing great. We learned quite a lot about the Fatal Fury City of the Wolves thanks to the playable build that is available right now for people who are attending the Summer Game Festival in the US. Now, some of this information can be seen just from looking at the official website where an updated move list and command list for all characters or for the available characters has been shared by SNK, and also thanks to Rooflemonger, who was able to interview the game producer Yasuyuki Oda and learned some new information about the upcoming game. Now, before we unpack all that and talk about it in details, a gentle reminder to leave a like and subscribe if you have not done so. Leaving a like helps the channel tremendously as it allows this video and the channel to reach a wider audience. It doesn't take a long time, and I really appreciate if you can do that. Now, let's go ahead and talk about first what was shared by SNK in the official website. There are some changes in the game since what we've seen at EVO Japan. Now, the biggest change for me is now the hidden gear or the super. So if you remember, Fatal Fury City of the Wolves each character has 3 supers. There were 2, and then it was a hidden super. The hidden super, or what is called the hidden gear, was not shown in the command list, and you had to find it. And I was able to do a few of them at EVO Japan, and they were kind of unique. So for example, for T-Zoc, it was actually 3 360 motions, and then the HP and HK. So it was always some sort of different combination, and again, it was not easy to do. But in the new update, they made the hidden. It's not a hidden gear anymore. It's not hidden anymore, as they're now sharing how it's done, and all the characters have the same motion, which is 2 quarter circle forward and the R1 button, which is the rev guard button. All right, so everyone has the same thing, and it's not hidden. Honestly, myself, I really prefer how it was before. You know, like hidden gear and all these weird, unique special moves or commands, because this is a devastating move and it's supposed to not be something easy to do. I really like that. So I'm not sure if it's gonna stay like this with just the 2 quarter circle forwards, or are we going back to having it hidden and having unique motions. I really hope it's gonna be the latter, but we'll see. The game is still in production. There's still some time before it comes out, and it depends on what the feedback is gonna be. Things might change. Another thing we learned in the game is that we have a new mechanic that was shown on the website, the Wild Punish. Now, the Wild Punish is described as this occurs when you hit a vulnerable opponent after they whiff an attack. Wild Punishes result in a special knockback state or face down knockdown depending on the situation, allowing for combos not normally possible. So this is, in other words, this is the whiff punish that we have, for example, in Street Fighter 6, and it's just more ways to punish a whiffed attack from your opponent. The other change we have that now we know is when it comes to Smart Style. Now, Smart Style, or as some people call it, the easy mode, which allows you to do special moves just by pressing forward or back or just a direction and then a button, and allows players who are not familiar with with fighting games to be able to do flashy moves and enjoy the game. Now, we learned some new stuff about it thanks to the updated information on the website. First of all, not all special moves can be done in Smart Style. So if you look in here at the command list for some of the characters, you'll see that you have only some moves that are available in the easy mode or Smart Style, and the rest of the moves have to be done using motion. So it's kind of pushing the player who goes into Smart Style to eventually transition to the arcade classic style. And I really like that. So this seems like it's like a way to get beginners into the game, but eventually they'll have to move on to the arcade or classic style. The other thing, as you can see in the command here, is that the hidden gear, or like the level 3 super, are not, you still have to do the full motion, right? You still have to do the 2 quarter circle forwards. And again, I think this is quite a good idea. So again, this is not a way to completely change the way or to replace the classic style. You still have to eventually learn how to do the classic moves or the arcade style. So I think this is really cool. Now let's talk about some of the other things that we learned thanks to Rufelmonger, and it's a lot of them. First of all, I want to talk about the roster, right? The launch roster. Yasuaki Oda, the game producer, has said that it's pretty much what you expect from a modern game. This is not a King of Fighters game, right? So this is, you know, a 1 versus 1. So don't expect a King of Fighters size in terms of roster, but it's going to be something that, you know, makes sense. So I guess it's going to be close to what we've seen with Street Fighter 6 and other fighting games. But they talked also about DLC, and we learned a little bit about what to expect. Right off the bat, SNK is saying, or Yasuaki Oda is saying, that they already have planned for a multi-year support for City of the Wolves. So we're gonna get more and more characters after the launch, obviously. So this is, he specifically said multi-year, so they're gonna be supporting the game for years to come, which is great. There's so many characters we want to see. And speaking of the characters and who we want to see, they kind of made it kind of official that the launch roster, at least, is gonna be many of the Garou Mark of the Wolves cast, with some new characters and some legacy characters, and they use the word sprinkled in. So it's going to be the majority of Mark of the Wolves. The roster is going to be made with the majority of Mark of the Wolves, the new characters, with some legacy characters. And one of the legacy characters they hinted at is Joe Higashi, because when they were talking about Vox Reaper, they said that Vox Reaper is kind of made to replace Grant, right? It's kind of like a better version of Grant. But Preacher, on the other hand, had to be different from Joe because Joe is probably in the game. Okay, so Joe Higashi is kind of almost confirmed for the game, and I really like that. And again, speaking always about characters, Rufelmonger asked about guest characters. Are we gonna get guest characters in Fatal Fury? They of course did not confirm or deny that, but they said they already did something like that with Samurai Showdown, and they're open to having guest characters in the game. Of course, with Street Fighter 6 getting Fatal Fury characters, a lot of people are saying it's only logical to have Street Fighter characters in Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. So we'll see if that's going to be the case. Now, not specifically talking about characters, but DLC content, specifically cosmetics, was the topic of a question that Rufelmonger asked, and I'm really happy he did that. But he was never given an answer. The answer kind of, you know, veered more towards characters, right? Characters DLC, and they're thinking about some other things, etc. But they never said that we're gonna have a lot of cosmetics, which I really hope they change their mind on that. I really hope we're gonna have a lot of cosmetics and a lot of DLC costumes, which is kind of like what Street Fighter is doing, or Tekken, etc. And I really hope they do that. Now, the other thing they talked about is how the Rev system was created to basically make the Mark of the Wolves gameplay style more aggressive. Mark of the Wolves relied heavily on a defensive style as well as neutral gameplay, but they wanted to make that a little bit more aggressive, and that's why they introduced the Rev system and the Rev Axle, and the ability to cancel E moves into other EX moves, and all the, you know, the Rev meter mechanic that we've talked about before. So this was the idea behind bringing the Rev system. They also talked a little bit about the single player content. Yasuaki Oda said that he can't confirm or announce anything at this time. Look forward to the future, but they have some pretty good ideas about modes, single player modes and story elements, but they're not announcing anything yet. And I think, again, this is further hinting that the game is going to have a story mode. I mean, we've seen some of the images from probably the cutscenes of the story mode in the latest trailer. So let's see what happens from there. And speaking about story, they talk a little bit about the plot and how they are taking the plot very seriously in this game. In fact, they said they brought back one of the series writers from back in the day, some of the Fatal Fury plot series writer they're not with SNK anymore, but they brought them back because they want to make sure that the story is consistent, it makes sense, it's great, and it's not something that's going to contradict any of the lore that came before it. And I think this is really great. They really put in a focus on story, which is really good. As someone, as you know, I love the lore and story of these SNK IPs. To see them taking this approach and having someone who knows what they're doing when it comes to story is very important. There's a lot of potential there because, again, Fatal Fury has a lot of good story, And speaking of story, as I have previously said, I'm working on the complete lore of Fatal Fury from before the first game up to City of the Wolves. It's going to be a series that's going to start soon, hopefully in the next few weeks, and will continue until about close to the release of the game, so that you guys would know exactly why the plot of Fatal Fury is really great. So again, we learned a lot of stuff about City of the Wolves. The event is not done yet. We'll be sharing more information. We'll know more information for sure. But this was really an awesome couple days. So what is the most thing you're excited about in City of the Wolves? Let me know in the comment section. Big shout out to the channel's patrons and premium subscribers for supporting the channel. Link is in the description for becoming a patron or a premium subscriber. Now, until next time, you guys stay safe.